engaging students in these activities. Not only a scientific approach we want to bring forward through Expo, in the 6 months of Expo, but it's something that we want to have fallouts on students and exchanges. We are launching projects. I hope we can do something like this on artificial intelligence with other universities in Italy, in the Mediterranean, in the Arab countries, and in this country that will provide opportunities for short, brief courses, master courses, summer courses, winter courses that will start during Expo and be a legacy of Expo. This I want to point it out because for us is a very important goal of participating in Expo to create a legacy of exchanges that will enable students not to attend new opportunities of education without having to renounce to their traditional existing path, educational path. Pertains to new skills, soft skills, new competence, but also to what we are going to discuss today. And I hope that we can put together ideas to launch before the end of Expo something that will engage Italian students and Emirati students to come and go between Italy and Emirates, exchanging experiences again in master's brief courses that can be organized by both Khalifa here and by our university in Rome. So this would be an interesting legacy of what we start to do today. Thank you again for being here. I'll be really following your work very closely to get ideas, inspirations for moving ahead on these lines. Thank you again.
Thank you very much to the High Commissioner for the Expo, Italian Expo, and now it's really my pleasure to call on stage the Executive Vice President of Khalifa University, Dr. Arif Al-Hamadi, for a few words. Thank you very much. The stage is yours.
Buonasera, all our friends. Excuse me for speaking a few words in Italian, and then I can start my speech. So, ho avuto piacere per vivere in Italia per 3 anni, 25 anni fa, quando mio padre è stato all'ambasciata lì. Allora parlo un pochino di italiano, però non è buono per andare il discorso di oggi. Però, and that's why I'll speak in English. Excellencies, a very warm welcome from Khalifa University of Science and Technology to all the academics, stakeholders, researchers, government officials, and business leaders. Today, as you all know, marks the presentation of the PALM project, Prevention and Detection of Poisoning and Adversarial Attacks on Machine Learning Models, PALM, at Expo 2020. Expo 2020 brings us one of the proudest moments for us in the UAE, and we are all delighted to present the project in this biggest global event. The PALM project develops a comprehensive framework and toolkit to improve the resilience of machine learning models by means of prevention and detection techniques. The project also signifies the importance we place on cybersecurity and the projects we undertake to assist our stakeholders in this vital sector. This is one of 11 projects funded by Abu Dhabi Technology Innovation Institute, TII, and led by Khalifa University researchers. These projects signify the kind of advanced technology research that our university undertakes to obtain solutions that benefits everyone. Of the 11 projects, 9 are undertaken by Khalifa University Center for Cyber Physical System, C2PS. Khalifa University System on Chip Center, the SOCC, and the Center of Robotics and Autonomous Systems, KU CARS, will be leading one of project each. As a research-intensive institution, we continue to collaborate with several universities across the world, especially Italian universities. We have a long record of collaboration with Italian universities. I am sure officials from university represented here understand and realize our deep-rooted research partnership. Let me name few earlier collaboration with our Italian partners here. We collaborated with the Division of Environmental Health Engineering of a University of Salerno in Italy for innovative Nava mask device. Actually, the Nava mask device is the one I'm wearing today, and it is fully biodegradable, patented at Khalifa, and we got the sheets for this tested in University of Salerno in Italy. And then we went to a second part, which designing, I hope I brought the second one with me. Yeah, the second one, which is also done in Khalifa, but designed by an Italian designer. So this is another project that was collaborated with Italian university and Italian designers. So we have evidence here, not only speeches, about our collaboration. Sorry, I went out of the speech. I'm going to go back to it again. We are partnering with the University of Milan and Scuola Superiore di Sant'Anna of Pisa, joint lab for embedded artificial intelligence at our Robotic and Intelligence System Institute. In addition, we have also had academic collaboration with the University of Padova, the Sant'Anna School for Advanced Studies in Pisa, and the Foscari University of Venice. Such in the extent of our collaboration and partnership, and we believe that the PALM project will further strengthen the existing relationship between the UAE and Italy, especially in academic, research, and industrial sectors. On behalf of Khalifa University and the researchers, I thank you all, and I thank all the partners for collaborating with us, sharing the expertise and exchanging experiences to bring out the top-notch solution that benefit the community. I welcome you all again and wish for more fruitful and productive partnership between Khalifa University and Italian academics and research institutions and industrial partners. Khalifa University also looks forward to contributing to strengthening the partnership between the UAE and Italy. Thank you all and wish you a great event.
Much once again. I think we are at this moment to evoke the presence through video remotely, to remote video of the rectors of the Italian universities involved in the PALM project. The first one will be Professor Maria Pia Bracchio, who's the Deputy Vice Rector for Research of the University of Milan. So I think we have a video recorded welcome message from her.
Your Excellency Omar Shamsi, Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Italy. Your Excellency Nicola Lehner, Ambassador of Italy to the United Arab Emirates. Your Excellency Dr. Mohammad Ahmad Al-Kuwaiti, Head of Cybersecurity of the Government of the United Arab Emirates. Magnifico Rettore dell'Università di Sapienza di Roma.
Well,
professors and researchers from all the
let's try again. Third time lucky, they say.
Dear students, as a Deputy Rector and Vice Rector for Research and Innovation of the University of Milan, Italy, also on behalf of our Rector, Professor Elio Franzini, I'm really delighted to extend a warm welcome to all participants to today's event, which represents an important moment for the already ongoing collaboration between our university and the Khalifa University. We are particularly pleased to present the Palm project in the context of a major global event like Expo 2020. The Palm project, Prevention and Alleviation Poisoning and Adversarial Attacks on Machine Learning Models, in which we collaborate with the Technology Innovation Institute in Abu Dhabi, together with Khalifa and the Sapienza in Rome, develops a complete framework and toolkit to improve the robustness and resilience to attacks to machine learning models, which make intelligent and autonomous the system and devices that we use every day. University of Milan has a long history of interdisciplinary and international collaboration with many other universities and research bodies throughout the world. University of Milan is indeed a research-intensive institution and a founding member of the League of European Research Universities, LERU, and since 2019, a participant of the 4EU Plus Alliance funded by the European Commission for the establishment of the first European university. Projects like the Palm project do represent the type of advanced scientific and technological collaborative research that our university undertakes, not only to advance knowledge, but also to find a solution that benefit everyone, first of all citizens and the environment. Moreover, we strongly believe in team working, in sharing skills and competencies in order to realize high-level solutions for the benefit of the entire community. Specifically, it is acknowledged that the exploitment of the increasingly high number of informatic data, the so-called big data, is the fuel that powers artificial intelligence and machine learning applications, with enormous advantages in terms of health of human beings and of animals, as well as in terms of sustainable production of food, access to water, and environmental preservations, just to mention some of the potential applications. Today's meeting underlines the importance of information security in these key applications fields, and in particular in life and health sciences and technologies. We are particularly proud to contribute to the partnership between the United Arab Emirates and Italy, and to further strengthen existing relationships in the academic, research, and industry sector. I therefore wish all participants to today's meeting a very fruitful exchange and discussion. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Now is the turn of Director of the University of Rome La Sapienza, Professor Antonella Polimeni. We should also have a brief recorded message from her.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce this event held at the Expo 2021 in Dubai, an important international exhibition. This is the membership of more than 190 nations. I'm also delighted because this specific event concerns the presentation of the PAM project, which falls under research area in cybersecurity, which is a strategic area for Sapienza University of Rome. The prevention and detection of poisoning and adversarial attacks and machine learning models, known as PAM project, is an important international collaboration that is starting among two high-profile Italian universities, Milan and Rome, the top university in the United Arab Emirates, Khalifa University, and is funded by the Secret System Research Centers of Abu Dhabi's Technology Innovation Institute and leading United Arab Emirates Research Center. Machine learning is a key enabler in many technologies that are used daily by millions of people, and its important and widespread use will only increase in the near future. For example, consider the application of machine learning to self-driving cars or to automatic patient monitoring systems. The PAM project aims at providing a better understanding of the cybersecurity and reliability of machine learning and adversary settings, developing novel approaches to increase the resilience of machine learning algorithms against cyber attacks. The results of this project will allow for several applications of the machine learning technology to critical systems which require the utmost security and resilience against potential threats. Finally, Sapienza University is experiencing a moment of international recognition thanks to the many important international research projects in which it collaborates, but also from the work to Professor Giorgio Parisi of the Nobel Prize for Physics in 2021 at Sapienza University. We all are excited. Our university is proud, but is the pride of the whole Italian country. These actual results testify to this university's continued commitment to leading-edge international research.
Thank you very much. Now, after this recorded welcome, thank you. And also, we are all proud of the Nobel Prize, of course, of Professor Parisi, who is also very much interested in machine learning and AI, not just in physics. So and I would like to conclude the welcome addresses by calling on stage the ambassador of Italy to the UAE. Sorry, there's one more recorded one. Sorry. There's the ambassador of the UAE to the Italian Republic, which of course cannot be here with us because he's in Rome, as his duty entails, and he was so kind also to send us a recorded message of welcome. So could we please show this short message by His Excellency Omar Abaid Al-Shamsi.
Dr. Mohammed Your Excellencies, Dr. Mohammed Your Excellencies. Your Excellencies, Dr. Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti, Head of Cybersecurity for the Government of the United Arab Emirates. Your Excellencies, Nicola, Ambassador of the Republic of Italy to the United Arab Emirates. Your Excellencies, Dr. Roberto Bardoni, Head of Cybersecurity Agency for the Government of Italy. Professor Antonella Polimeni, Magnificent Director of the Sapienza University of Rome, Professor Elio Franzini, Magnificent Director of the University of Milan, Dr. Arif Hamadi, Executive Vice President of Khalifa University, professors and researchers from all the universities gathered here, as the Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to the Republic of Italy, I would like to congratulate all of you for today's event at the Italian Pavilion of Dubai Expo 2020 and express my deep appreciation for the successful cooperation atmosphere you have created between the UAE research institutions and the Italian universities. Today's event highlights the high importance that both the UAE and Italy attach to expanding the applications of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity in many domains of mutual interest, including key ones like energy, aerospace, and healthcare. On behalf of the UAE Embassy in Italy, I would like to express once again my warm welcome to all participants to Dubai and wish you continued success in sharing your skills and experiences to achieve high-level research results for the benefit of both our countries.
And now, sorry for, I'm not very good at doing this, but I think we can conclude our welcome addresses with the welcome address which will be delivered in person, and I would like to thank you personally for being here this afternoon by the Ambassador of Italy to the UAE, Dr. Nicola Arena. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Professor. I'm in 3 dimensions. I am in person, really. I will be very swift in order not to take out time to the work of this afternoon. Well, of course, full support on behalf of the Italian government for the work that you are doing this afternoon. Your Excellency Dr. Al-Hamadi, Your Excellency Dr. Al-Kuwaiti, Dr. Takari, Commissioner General, Excellencies. We are fully supporting this kind of initiatives. We believe a lot in exploring opportunities to foster cooperation between our two countries. I'm talking about two countries, not only two governments. I mean, there's a G2G cooperation, but there's also people-to-people cooperation involving our scientific and research technological communities. Actually, here in the UAE, we have more than 70 researchers working and carrying out their activities in all the Emirati universities. We are really keen to support their activities for the sake of our mutual cooperation. We are even thinking to launch an association of Italian researchers, as Professor Damiani knows, in the UAE. Of course, not can I say an exclusive entity, but an inclusive one, so involving also Emirati or researchers from other nationalities having some activity related to Italy as well, because we think we attach the utmost importance of this kind of cooperation. Italy is well, has a lot to say, has a lot to do to cooperate for the mutual benefit of our two countries, but also the global benefit. I would say Expo is an amazing platform for this kind of activities. I'm very thankful to Commissioner General Glisenti for making available this platform, the platform of the Italian pavilion, for this these opportunities to foster our cooperation. I don't have to say more to experts on cybersecurity about cybersecurity, but I was pretty much, I can say, shocked this morning in hearing the latest news. So green pass, fake green pass with some weird names in the EU, discovered, I mean, yesterday, that confirmed the urgency of dealing with this challenge that is going, I mean, is going to stay, of course, and we have to be more and more equipped to face and counter it. So that said, I renew my full support, personal, the embassy of the Italian institutions for this kind of cooperation that we are determined to encourage and foster. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for these words that we take seriously. So we will sort of hopefully follow up with a lot of initiatives in bilateral collaboration on this particular topic of cybersecurity. So as far as the international collaboration on cybersecurity event, well, I sort of particularly happy to welcome a speech from Dr. Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti, His Excellency Al-Kuwaiti. I would like to invite him on stand, just remembering, I mean, first of all, we go way back with discussion on this topic and on cybersecurity in general. And also more recently, we have been discussing in a number of occasions what can we do together, how the sharing can improve the overall cybersecurity posture of the countries and the capabilities. So thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, and the stage is all yours, Dr. Al-Kuwaiti. Thank you again.
Test. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really glad to be here with you all. Thank you, Professor, for arranging things. Thank you, Your Excellencies, for actually joining us here and giving us the opportunity to really explore these opportunities, sustainabilities, and mobilities of the Expo, and really build on this for a future mutual cultural type of exchange, not only in the R&Ds and many of the AIs that we have, but also across all different sectors that we see. And we really appreciate all of the supports that we've been seeing already from the government of Italy, and we really help and hope this will definitely continue with your presence and years to come. Today, we are really gathered in a very special place, a very special moment, especially giving all of the countries around us now with their pavilions, with all of the nationalities, more than 192 nationalities that are present in this great city, and allowing us to all really fulfill that slogan, connecting safely, or connecting minds safely, as well as creating the future. And that's what we are all about, creating the future for our kids, for generation to come, for our future to really be sustainable, and allows us to really work together in many of those aspects. In cybersecurity, if I may speak, since that's our domain, and as Professor mentioned, we go back more than 10 years actually, and exploring many of those, as I'm glad and honored to be one of the alumni of Khalifa University as well here, is the digital transformation that we saw really changed a lot of things across many sectors that we have today. Digital transformation started 2000 in this year with the vision of our leadership, where they wanted to connect all of those ministerials and government entities. And this is where they started with something called e-government. And e-government have evolved into something to be called smart government or mobile government, and after that smart government. And recently, with the announcement with our leadership and the vision of 2050 is to go towards something really called the artificial intelligence government. We live in a smart cities, and we all see all of these smart cities as present here today in Expo. This smart cities has connectivities, has dependencies on technologies, and will continue to allow us to connect and to really depend on technologies more and more. It's not us who really have experienced much of this connectivity. It's our kids. If you can detach your kid from his phone or iPad, that's really something he cannot. All the time you will see them on this new pads, iPads, and new connections that they have, as well as all of the opportunities that they have been doing with these technologies. But is that smart city safe? Is that really where we need to bring our generation to be? Safety and security is the pillars of every nation that we see here. See the cities around us or countries around us with that has some conflicts. If there is no pillars of such safety and security, not only in the real land, but also in the virtual life, then there will always be conflicts and no stability in this perspective. Our research and developments, all of the gathered actually researchers, as well as the collaboration we've seen, is to build that sense of safety and security in the virtual life, and making it a resilient for us all to really do business, to really do a lot of transactions that of interest to us, and to communicate between us and our loved one, as well as to really connect and collaborate. And this is what is the essence of this cybersecurity challenges. It is a problem that crosses different boundaries. It is not associated with one single person or organization or country. It is a common problem, a common challenge that would love always to collaborate and build this mutual alliance to really stop in front of such issues. I'll give two examples that we faced, and we really managed to go over that only because of such alliance. We all know about the ransomware attacks that hit recently in different places. Here in country, we had a big ransomware attack to one of the entities, those financial entities to be specific. This financial entity was really a victim of such ransomware. They called, as per the standard operation procedures that we have and all of the concept of operation, they collaborated with all of the different entities in order to protect themselves and investigate how to return all of the data that they have been locked from back to normal. Unfortunately, it was not easy. That financial institute, because there weren't much of cyber drills being done with them, cyber exercise, and not even some backups here and there, or even an entity that could help them if something happened. So they ended up with calling everybody here and there in order to react to this attack. Thanks God there was a backup version of their data that goes back to about 1 week. And that backup was there, and they were faced with either to pay the perpetrators an amount of about almost 3 million dirham, almost $1 million, or to go back into their 1 week delayed or lagged type of information. That $1 million, and as a matter of fact, they paid that $1 million. Because of the financial sector, 1 week is a big difference, a big transaction. So many transactions happened every day, and they were unable to recover many of this data or back up many of these aspects. And thanks God that perpetrator was honest. So he returned back all of the data. They gave them the keys. Unlike the colonial pipeline, if you heard of that, when the attack happens, the money was paid, but the information was not returned. So the lessons learned here: back up, and do a lot of cyber drills so that everybody happens and work together. The way that they really solved this, with all of the collaboration, with all of the security entities, with all of the international bodies who really stepped in to help and really work together on this and build this mutual understanding, that was really something that we was really proud of. Everybody stepped in, everybody wanted to help, but unfortunately, because of the time limit and many of those things that actually the risk assessment they did and the evaluation they had to make across that specific time, that what really affected us all, and this is why they paid that ransomware. The other story is about an international attack. We had an international attack from friendly nation. That international attack was actually impacting us as a critical infrastructure for specific critical infrastructure. And as much we've been talking to that country and sending them information and reports and telling them, guys, this is now been more than 2 months and the attack is still happening, but no response was there. We realized that it's not because they could not or did not want to help. They want to help, but they don't have the know-how. They don't know how to help. And this is where we went the extra mile. We went over to that nation. We actually analyzed the type of attacks happened there. We provided the help in that country with them in order to really stop that abuse of their infrastructure that pivoted some of the attack to our nation and to other friendly nations around us all. And this was really, again, a successful story where we collaborated with them in a private, in a great manners, in a mutual interest. And it really paid off, not only for us, but for all of our nations who actually helped in this aspect. So with those two stories, now we're aiming towards, and the idea behind those ransomware, it actually was as an infrastructure ransomware for hire. it's an infrastructure as a service, and they use this based on AI. AI today is leveraged to do attacks, not only to do good things. You recently heard that attack on the voice deep, or the deep voice, that allows someone to trick a bank and transfer that money of more than $75 million because of AI. They trusted the AI, they trusted that voice, and it is as close to reality as possible. Now we changed from that concept that says seeing is believing. We used to say this long time ago. When you see something, you believe it. It's no longer the story. Seeing is no longer believing. Hearing is no longer believing. It changed now to a place where you need to do multi-factor authentication. And this is some of the research aspects, as we will speak. Professor, I read that actually poisoning some of that AI data and allows it to really trick the customers, the perceptions of them and how it happens. So we are going towards that change and dilemma of many of those attacks and challenges in AI. And with that, we need the collaboration of everybody. We need the collaboration of the government of Italy, the researchers, the institutes, the things that we could actually build this to be more and more sustainable and create opportunities and mobilities to everybody around the world. And that's our main slogan towards many of this. And with that, we really appreciate all of the efforts you've been doing. Thank you again to everybody, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. This is really, I mean, you gave us the spirit of the rest of the afternoon. But before moving to the panel, we have collected from Rome the head of the Italian cybersecurity agencies, newly created, also an old friend and former colleague of mine, Professor Roberto Baldoni. So I hope that we can connect with him, and he will deliver short speech from this point of view of building, as he has been very instrumental in building the capability, the Italian cybersecurity capability. So Roberto, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. And the stage is yours.
Thank you for inviting me here. I want to say hello to all the excellencies that are there, to the ambassador Nicola Lerner, to the executive vice president of Khalifa University, and all the institutional person that did their greetings just before. And of course, I want to say hello to Mohammad that I met quite frequently. Unfortunately, not in person, only in VTC. I really hope to discuss with him exciting topics in cybersecurity very soon. So what I have to say, I'm very happy to be here, to participate to the Expo, and to foster with determination, as I said by Ambassador Lerner, actually the dialogue between Italy and UAE on all, let's say, the digital transformation, and of course cybersecurity is a part of that. Because as was mentioned before, we are living inside a world that is very rapidly changing its surface. We live not anymore only in a physical space, but also in a virtual space. This creates many trouble because sometimes, I mean, the speed with which there is this digital transformation is so high that also the society is not able to cope with the speed. And we can really touch this when you go to see the level of awareness with respect, for example, the possible threat that you can have using several technologies. But despite that, we need to provide a world where, the security goes hand by hand with the digital transformation. And when we talk about the technology, we have to keep in mind that we have a lot of technology running concurrently that are changing our world. Cloud, of course, 5G, IoT, quantum, edge computing, robotics, and definitely AI, just to mention a few. And of course, AI, as every one of us knows, has been known the basic paradigm since a long time, but right now we actually have the processing power and the capability to manage giant amount of data that makes this AI very effective. And of course, as in any kind of digital transformation, we need to make this transformation that will be done by AI safe. Safe meaning several things. One of that is, of course, from the ethical point of view, and then also from the cyber point of view. For cyber, I think that the project that you are presenting today, this PAL project, is actually going really at the heart of the main problem that we have in front of us. So the prevention and the detection of poisoning and adversarial attacks on machine learning models. This is because sometimes, especially till 3-4 years ago, when you talk with your colleagues in AI, they didn't care too much to the security part. Right now, I see that also in AI community, this is a topic that is now taking a momentum, and this is really, this makes me really happy, because otherwise, what would happen is that, you know, an agency like the one that I direct should work a lot in order to prevent and to mitigate the incident that could happen if we are not able to provide AI tools that are, in some sense, cyber secure, or at least they provide a certain threshold of security. Of course, as was said by Mohamed, we have two specific aspects of AI. One is the aspect of, let's say, having a secure AI. On the other hand, we have how AI can be used for empowering cybersecurity tools. And of course, both of them are aspects that the agency that I am directing is following a lot. We have many projects running at this time on both these aspects, and we expect that in the future this number will increase a lot. Of course, we can imagine that, you know, let's say there are many examples where AI can be really used for the bad. So recently I was over an attack that was done in high-frequency trading system, which was using, the attacker was using AI in order to lead the price of the stock market where he wants. And these are very, very, let's say, subtle type of attack, because it's also difficult then to find, you know, the pattern of attack. So, proving that this was actually a real attack. We live in a world like that, so where sometimes it's also difficult to prove that something had happened and there was an attacker behind. So what I think is that with the alliance of countries like ours, we can really provide technologies with new insights, new things, in order to get to a trustworthy AI. So that is my greeting to the roundtable that will follow up, and I will say now hello from Rome, and have a nice continuation of your workshop.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for being with us this afternoon. Thank you very much. So now, before we do the quick roundtable that we are expecting with the real experts that worked on the Palm project and we want to show you a video. It's a short video, but the idea is to give an idea of what actually we've been doing before talking about it. So I would like you to ask for your patience for a 5-minute video that shows the results of the Palm project, what it is about. Thank you very much for sending the video.
Artificial intelligence is everywhere in the modern world. Machine learning services, machine learning are within our devices, are helping us to make decisions, are handling the transportation systems. So these services are useful in our lives. On the other hand, they are introducing additional weaknesses because they learn from experience, and experience can be poisoned. So attackers can fool those systems into taking wrong decisions. And we have to strengthen them. We have to apply techniques to make them robust with respect to the risk of poisoning. This is exactly the purpose of the Palm project that we are running here at Khalifa University with the funding of the Technology Innovation Institute in Abu Dhabi.
That actually corresponds to style actions. Okay, thank you very much. I hope that gave you an idea of the notion that we can use AI to detect hostile attacks, but the hostile attackers can then attack the AI itself we are using. So we need to make the AI robust with respect to the attacks. So there are two things. Use AI to detect attacks. These are exactly the two angles that our previous speakers identified. Using AI to detect attacks, when inside my phone something wrong is going on, we use AI to detect it. On the other hand, the attacker can then turn against the AI model itself and try to poison the model so it will not be able to detect it. And we need to strengthen the model for that. So this is exactly what we are doing research on collaboratively. And now it's time for, let's say, diving a little bit deeper in the technicality of how we do it. I would like to call on stage our 5 excellent panelists. I would like to start with Dr. Srigantiki Takar, who is the head of the Secure System Research Center at TII in Abu Dhabi, also a good friend of mine, and I'm very happy. Thank you for being with us. Please take your seat. Then the second speaker is Professor Claudio Ardagna from the University of Milan. I'm rather envious of Claudio because although he's a full professor with a lot of experience, still looks like a student. but yes, young. Then I would like to call Professor Stefano Zatti from the La Sapienza University of Rome. Also, we go very way back. We come from the same town back in Italy, so it's always a pleasure to have you, Stefano. You don't look like a student, sorry, but anyway, you look well anyway. And then we have the PI of the Palm Project for Khalifa University, Professor Chan. Thank you very much for joining us on the stage. Now, it will be quick because we are late, but I think that this is very important to give an idea to the. So if you don't mind, I will follow the alphabetical order. I will go with Claudio first, and then I will go with the other panelists. So I would like to ask Claudio to give us an idea of. Oh, well, actually, there are two questions here. The first question is how we do it. And the second question is why it is important to do it. I think that the second, why it is important, we try to give an idea with the video, but there is a much wider perspective. And the other important part is how do we do it? How does the toolkit that we are working on try to improve the robustness of the machine learning models? So, Claudio, you can start.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ernesto. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really honored to be here. I will try to add something to the previous speaker and excellency. It will be hard, but I will do my best. I would like to start from the video. The idea that the machine learning is at the core of our system and even of our life. And now they are the target of attacks. So we have attacks that can happen both at training phase, both at inference phase. At the training phase, we have attacks that try to manipulate the data and drive the training of the machine learning model to vulnerable models. On the other side, we have the inference phase, and the attacker is trying to change the behavior of the machine learning model and to infer some vulnerable status. Palm Project is trying to address this problem. And in this phase, we basically assume and start from the mantra, no trust, always verify, and even more continuously adapt. The idea is that we need to address three main aspects: robustness, resilience, and adaptation. So we need to provide solutions that protect our machine learning model. And in this scenario, we have two traditional approaches try to strengthen the single module, try to provide some adversarial examples in order to strengthen the model, but in our opinion, the PALM project thinks that this is not enough. In our opinion, we want to implement redundancy. We want to employ multiple models that collaborate to strengthen and increase the robustness of the machine learning models. In this scenario, the multiple models can be different, have different configuration, can learn from a different training set, and can either utilize and employ different algorithms. And the idea here is that we want really to provide solutions that increase the robustness of the system that employ this model. So the idea here is that we want even the model to adapt to the scenario we consider and to the knowledge we consider. We want this model to adapt to the adversary that we face. We want this model to adapt to the capability of the adversary. We want the model that adapt to the scenario. And in this context, the PALM project is going to train different models and have these different models that protect our system. And this can be done both training models in a smart way, in a collaborative way, and even at inference time. We use this model to avoid that attackers can craft some malicious samples and get through the system. So the idea we want to implement is to protect our system. One last point that I want to make is on the centrality of the adaptive part. The system we are facing are continuously changing, even the attackers are continuously changing, and then it is very important to adapt our defense to the scenario. And this points directly to the certifiable machine learning and to the certifiable AI. So we have a lot of critical aspects to consider, from the definition of new predictive and detection solution, and we are doing this in PALM, and even new monitoring and verification and certification solution that allow to strengthen our system and our solution.
Thank you very much. I think that following alphabetical order is now the turn of Tiki. We have been discussing strengthening machine learning models since a long time, right? So could I don't want to give you a fixed question, although the two questions I mentioned both hang in the air. What is your take on this research and development direction that we are doing together with the AI?
Sure. Hi. First of all, thank you, Professor Ernesto, Dr. Arif, the Commissioner, and the Ambassador for having this opportunity to speak. And we are very glad to have both Rome and Milan universities working with us. And not only we have them, we also have Bologna and Modena as well. And I think we have our professors there visiting us as well. So first of all, it's great to have this relationship with Italy and being able to work in different areas to really develop technologies that can enrich the lives of people in UAE. And that's one of the things we are doing. And as we look at the systems, and Professor Ernesto and I have been talking very passionately about this vision we have, which is really, when you look at the cities like Dubai or Abu Dhabi, these are, living, breathing smart cities. And as they become more smart, you'll have lots of physical devices connected to digital devices. And these digital devices will be connected to the cloud. And you have to manage the systems. You're going to run an autonomous system in the cloud, which will not have humans managing these systems. Because to manage this kind of cities around the world, you need autonomous systems. When you build an autonomous system, it itself is an intelligent thing that you're building. And so, as we were talking earlier with the Deputy Commissioner, if you don't build this system and you worry that because the attack surface is huge, and it's not going to be 1 or 2 machine learning models that are part of the system, there'll be machine learning models inside the edge devices, there'll be machine learning models on the cloud, and they will be interacting all the time. And so if you say, well, there's too much, we are afraid, what's going to happen is you're going to be left behind. And you miss out the whole economic value of what the digital revolution is going to be, the autonomous revolution is going to be. And if you don't take care of some of the poisoning of the machine learning models or prevention of poisoning during the execution of the models, you are going to leave yourself to huge vulnerabilities that can bring the cities and the countries down, because these systems will manage everything that you see around you. So these, in terms of the importance and why we are funding the universities in Milan, Khalifa, and Rome, is to enable us to build rich machine learning systems that are going to be robust, resilient, and what I've called is zero trust. You have to make sure the systems are zero trust, means you have to make sure that from every piece of that logic that sits on the edge device is verifiable. You know where it came from, you know how, when you connect, it's authenticated, and everything that goes from that device to the cloud is hardened, and the cloud is also zero trust. Means you know everything that's running is verified, and you know where it came from. So these are very, very important and critical part of the secure, zero trust, secure autonomous systems. And the work that's being done here is one component that's going to help us to make them zero trust.
Thank you very much. I think that there is an interesting point here that was raised. We are using redundancy, and then we need to have zero trust. So we have collaboration. Redundancy means that multiple systems will interact to reach an objective. The objective is to make sure that they can resist tampering. On the other hand, they cannot trust each other. The communication, the entire setting in which this collaboration takes place must be a setting in which we don't get fooled, not even by the participants, to this redundant coalition. So this is exactly the principle between the PALM solution, but the PALM solution will have to become a toolkit. It will have to be implemented, and already we have software prototypes, but Khalifa University has a specific responsibility. So I would like now to ask Professor Chan to give us an idea. What will Khalifa make sure that the PALM system is going to deliver?
Thank you very much, Professor Ernesto. It's a great pleasure to be here, actually, in the Dubai Expo. And also, we have a distinguished guest here, the Excellencies, and the head of the cybersecurity for the UAE government, Dr. Mohammed Al-Kuwaiti. I do like your comment today regarding the ransomware and things like that. Reason for that is that, as you know, that machine learning is a two-edged sword. The reason is that attackers, hackers can able to use machine learning tool to not to be detected. Also, we use machine learning tool to detect the bad guys. So I have to say, we have to use it tool very, very wisely in order to detect like a 0 days attack. I do like, as you mentioned, zero trust. Zero trust is very, very important. Why? Because, when you mention about, we have two projects, that the exploitation project, and is considering about the malware, the mobile malware. Actually, maybe you know that all the PC has the antivirus mostly, but did you know that you have mobile phone right now, all of you right now? I'm just wondering whether you have antivirus software application in your mobile phone. I have a doubt that you have one. I'm pretty sure about this because I was talking to other people, they don't have one. So that means you are vulnerable, unfortunately. So we have to use to prevent this kind of attack. Actually, our tools currently using the mobile phone, the malware detecting, and also we have a drone project. But what we want to do is that this is not only the end of the solution. We want to make a toolkit such a way that is available for general public, so that this tool can apply just like ransomware, another tool for anything. So this is more generic tool that we are developing for the society of the UAE. So it is very useful, in my opinion, that we could use this tool to develop further for the future of the connecting safety and for the smart government. Okay, so that's, in my opinion, this is the most important fundamental fact for the developing the PALM project as a whole. Thank you very much.
It will be validated on the projects that you saw, but the toolkit will be applicable to any machine learning model wherever it is deployed. So this goes in the direction. And of course, for making it available to the general public, we have to ask TII first.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. But anyway.
Subject to approval from you.
Let's say that we are sort of saying this in the general sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, last but not least, I would like really to, very glad that Stefano could make it. He was in the aerospace meeting in Dubai, so we are very happy that he could sort of join us this afternoon in addition to what he was doing there. So Stefano, you have a wide experience, you have seen it all, right? So I really would like you to conclude this round of the panel with your point of view. You heard my two questions, but what is your take now from your experience of this strategy of strengthening the machine learning models that we are taking?
Okay, thank you very much, Ernesto. I represent the University of Rome La Sapienza, where I'm teaching a course on risk management in the cybersecurity master program, which is held in English. So it's actually welcoming students from all over the world. The importance of the learning basis, on where actually all the data that the learning machines are coming and using, is something that we have already been addressing at the level of the course that I'm teaching. In particular, I have students that are analyzing the ease on which, with wrong data, wrong conclusions can be taken, can be adopted. And this is because artificial intelligence is intelligent, but most of all is artificial. So it can be led to wrong conclusions. This is where we need to analyze and to study carefully what are the mechanisms that are leading an algorithm to make decisions. For example, an algorithm that drives a car based on data that is coming from the environment. This data can be poisoned, and this is what the PALM project is pursuing, and this is also the contribution of the Sapienza, of my university, to this project in two work packages that are dealing with making decisions out of a majority, so taking data and actually weighing with sophisticated algorithms the data, making sure that their average is sound, and the fact that adversarial impacts can lead to wrong conclusions by poisoning the pattern and leading in very surprising ways, because one wouldn't think that by putting a few bits in an image, the algorithm can make wrong conclusions and take a panda and transform it into a monkey. So all of these sophisticated algorithms need to be taken into considerations and led to the algorithm, to the learning algorithm, into correct decisions rather than taking away wrong decisions. And so this is actually the contribution that we take, but this is very important to make the software trustworthy, so that it can be certified and then can be exploited and given to the community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this. I think that we are very late with the schedule, so I would like to be sort of, frankly speaking, I would have loved to have 2 rounds of the panel, but that for time reasons is not possible. But anyway, what I wouldn't really renounce is the opportunity to have at least a few minutes of a vertical interchange between our panelists and the audience. So I would like now to open the floor for any comment, question, or remark. When university professors are involved, nobody asks questions. They always say it is more of a remark, and then they speak 30 minutes. So we don't have 30 minutes, but I would really love to get from the colleagues that are here their remark and opinion. I already see an hand waving. Could you please just introduce yourself before asking the question or making the remark?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you so much for this. Is absolutely fantastic. My name is Carlo Roveri. I'm the risk manager of Emirates Steel. It's a manufacturing company, government-owned. One of the main issues that we are facing is the manufacturing part of IT, what we call operational technology. Operational technology most of the time is untouchable and cannot be controlled because it's stable and cannot be touched because it's continuous working, and any delay in operations is not acceptable. So my question to you is, since we have clearly demonstrated in the past with several drills that a cyber attack could lead to a disaster, an absolute disaster, what is the point, what is the suggestion for a deep manufacturing environment to protect ourselves with this kind of solutions?
I can't resist intercepting for a second and saying that there is the attacks that do disasters, and there are the attacks that will just bring your control system to a suboptimal working. And suboptimal situation in which you just barely notice that something is going wrong, but then it will damage in the long term. So there are the two things. In a sense, there is the attack which is unmistakable, and there is the attack which you could take a long time before even noticing that you are under attack, but still it will damage the optimality point of your control on the pan. So this is exactly what we want to do. Suppose that you have something that is sort of helping to run a plant in an optimal fashion. We want it to be robust. People wouldn't be able to introduce the attacks that will make your suboptimal in a sense. This is just my 2 cents. So that's the relation between OT and what we are seeing here. We have, at the moment, IT validation protocol. We have the drones and phones, but certainly the hardening of the models is, for us, very important to also validate with OT optimization and anomaly detection algorithms, because those models are the ones that an attacker could compromise to escape detection. This is my 2 cents, but then I would like to, sorry, I couldn't resist. As I told before, the professors can't, but I think that maybe any panelist can jump in and add something to this answer.
Okay, I will start first. Well, this, as mentioned by Ernesto, this is a key point of our scenario. So the prevention and the detection is very important there, and particularly when we discuss about the suboptimal that Ernesto mentioned, the ability of continuously verify and adapt is key. So the idea of an attack that could last for a long time, undetected, is very, very dangerous. And then some solution that allows to monitor and to identify these misbehavior are very important. In this context, the context of having the best security solution is not always meaning that we have a secure system. And in this context, some assurance techniques can be used to try to identify misbehavior and try to adapt the system coming back to the expected behavior. On the other side, with Palm, we are taking also a preventive approach in which we try to strengthen the solution and the models that drive the behavior of the system. And in this case, we are trying, in a sense, to predicting the attacker and anticipating their moves. So the idea is try to make the system collaborative, to have this kind of redundancy in order to limit the possibility of the attacker of injecting faulty behaviors.
Stefano?
Okay, thank you. I wanted to say something, but I asked permission to him because it's in his field.
Okay, please go
so
ahead.
I didn't want to step over the borders of the program. But the idea is that when you have this suboptimal behavior, it is very risky. I mean, it's very risky. I teach risk management, so I always talk about risks. But the fundamental point is that it is likely that the suboptimal behavior is not detected, so that the machinery will continue, the operational machinery will continue providing services, but not the way it should be. So it is important to instrument the machinery in such a way that it will be possible to detect if something abnormal happens. For example, exfiltration. I worked many years for the European Space Agency, which was actually providing data to the public. But this data was provided in an open way, so it was actually given to the public. But it's fundamental that the data given is the right amount of data. If the data is poisoned, is actually wrong, it is important to have tools to detect the fact that the data is not the correct one, so that the behavior is suboptimal. And to do this, the artificial intelligence needs to instrument itself by learning. And this is what we learned out of the drone behavior, the pilot of the drone who is not behaving in the way that it should be. And by learning that, it is possible to detect abnormal situations even when they start to manifest themselves at the very beginning, and then to take appropriate actions, evasive actions or amending actions immediately. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So it'll be correct. I don't know, Jan, if you want to add something to this, but...
give a quick comment on that. Actually, what is the weakest link, you may think? Actually, normally the human is the weakest link, in my opinion, because according to survey, about 65% is an internal attack. So, we have to make sure that our workers, to make sure that the fitness for duty for for example, whether that person is able to work in the SCADA network or critical national infrastructure. So we want to make sure that you can have to understand like, for example, understand the brainwave of the things like that. So currently, we are working on this area with our student on the PhD level at the moment. So you have to really consider that not only we just discuss about OT and IT security, but also we have to consider human behavior as well. Just a quick note. Thank you.
Yeah, I do agree that the human security always has the people and processes part, which is neglected somehow, but it should also be in the picture. So we want to strengthen the model that makes the automatic decision, yes, but we also want to make sure that the processes and the people who are involved in the creation of the model, in the deployment of the model, are basically sound and safe.
Actually, artificial intelligence cannot live without natural intelligence.
Yeah, which is in short supply sometimes, but this is a general remark. Okay, I think we can take one more. Anyone comment or question? Okay, thank you, my lady. Thank you very much. So we get gender parity in the questions. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Mariam Naimi from Abu Dhabi Digital Authority. Firstly, I'd like to thank the organizers for the interesting conversations held here today. My question may be more towards the policy or remark, as you mentioned, rather than the technical implementation. Just to complement the setup, I was thinking of a compliance policy, not to, let's say, react, but a compliance policy for the use of AI in governments. So having the policy govern the embedding of security by design rather than it be reactive, have it be proactive in nature within the solution itself, since from the implementation or design perspective, for it to mitigate rather than reactively try to resolve it.
Thank you very much. I think I have something to say, but I will say at the end now. So I will defer to the panelists first. They don't want to say anything, I will say something. Well, you know, this is a very, in my opinion, a very important part, which is when you take a decision like the Palm decision will basically make your model stronger with respect to attacks, might be at the price that the model will be slightly less precise on clean data. So in a sense, you need normative guidance. Because you need normative guidance, because if you deploy the hardening in a system that is inside, for example, an healthcare appliance, you are basically making, okay, it's more secure because it can resist to attacks. On the other hand, it's not delivering the optimal point. So again, we go back also to Carlos' questions before. So we are, in a sense, Palm introduces a slightly the controlled suboptimality. But how much can we put? So this is policy. So we need a normative framework for deployment of AI, and I would like to say that the UAE is probably leading the world in this direction from this point of view, because the normative guidance for the deployment of AI has been one of the strategic objectives since several years. But I think that there might be some work to do in the deployment of secured AI, because after securing the AI, how much security is enough? So how much should we go in the prevention? When, for example, we may have a guarantee that physical security will make always work on clean data. In this case, we need to deliver the best model we can. If we know that the model is going to work in some dirty conditions, for example, in a smart city where data are coming from all over the place, then we need to tolerate a little bit of decrease in the performance to make it more secure. How much? This is for you to say, not for us. We can provide you with the knob, and you have to decide how much to turn it. So this is my personal take. I don't know if any of the panelists want to add something.
Yeah, in this context, it is really fundamental to model the risk and the attacker capabilities in order to be as precise as possible. This is part also of the previous question. It is very important to being able to model the system we are protecting and the environment in which the system is behaving in order to be as precise as possible. And in addition, a step further after the definition of the policy is how to verify this policy. So when we talked about certifiable AI and certifiable ML. This is very, very relevant because it allows us to have a sense of reality and understand the real behavior of the system. And this certifiable AI could allow us to maintain this level of property along the system working and the system behavior. This should complement the policy part.
Yeah, could include explainability as well. I want to have a certain level of explainability. To have it, I must get a model which is not as good as it could. But how much is the right mix? This is for the policy to say. Stefano, and then Chan.
There is a method to answer the question how much security is necessary, or how much security is enough or is too much. And this is the analysis of the risks that he has already mentioned. So I tried to jump in, but it was faster. But in the analysis of the risk, you have to analyze and to consider the impact and the likelihood of an event. When you have done that, then you can tune the countermeasures to the right amount of resources that would avoid excessive damage, or accept the risk and prepare for amending if something really happens in the end. So basically, disaster recovery. Once you have considered this using well-established methodologies, then it is possible to take a decision and answer the question, how much security is enough?
Chan, Tiki, who wants to go first? Tiki.
I think how much security is enough is you need to ground up, have security built into the system. And I think as the system becomes autonomous, there will itself be monitoring and driving the security in the system, because it really, as it learns, it will adapt, and the adaptation will happen across the whole system.
That's very interesting, the notion that you can have a meta policy and then let the system determine where it is, and being able to sort of decide how much security is needed in that particular scenario system. Chan.
Yeah, just concluding remark. Actually, that all the panel was discussing what I already thought about. But recently, there is a niche area of explainable AI. Usually, the deep learning is a black box. You don't know how it come to this result. But now we have explainable AI. It can be able to discover why this come to this certain result, and for example risk management and things like that we could able to understand further. This is now good research topic at the moment. Yeah. Thank you. Just a comment.
Much. But of course the PALM approach, which is adding redundancy to reach a certain level of non-functional property, is a general, let's say, approach that we would want together to develop in that direction. There is one comment, and being the Vice President of Khalifa, I have to take it, but also Dr. Elisenti will go next.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, of course.
Can you hear me?
We can. Well, I can hear you, but I don't know if it's... yeah.
Okay, yeah, now you can hear me.
That's okay.
Thank you. So I was discussing with His Excellency, the Ambassador, about student exchange. So the question is going to be different than securing artificial intelligence. Maybe we can do an AI to solve it. But the issue that we have, and the question is to the Italian professors, we want to encourage more student exchange between the UAE and universities and Italian universities. And I'll give you a hint. For example, for UAE students to go to anywhere in the world, they would look for a medium that is English spoken. So they don't have time to learn the language. They want immediately to go and enroll into a program. So it's good to hear that some programs in your university is being taught fully in English, and that will help us. The second, I think they look for safety of campus. Especially for female students going from UAE. So those are the two things. What would Italian students look for to convince them to come to the UAE? What aspects would help us encourage more student exchange from your point of view?
Stefano and then Claudio. I think you are the two that should answer.
Okay, thank you. This is a very interesting scenario. One thing that I discourage is to think that you can attend a course by Zoom, remotely. This has happened because of the lockdown, and this was not, we managed, so eventually the students took the course and
survived.
From India, from Pakistan, Iran, even there are a few, I don't recall anybody from the Emirates, but all over the place. But it was not it's not actually answering your question, and it's not answering what we are aiming for. Exchange is an exchange. So Italians have to come to Emirates, Emirati people have to come to Italy. English is not a problem because the courses are taught in English. The logistics in Italy is a bit challenging, but because of the complexity of the country, but the safety, I wouldn't see a problem, not even for women. There are a lot of women also in the course. I have 2 students from Iran taking the thesis with me, so I wouldn't worry about the safety of the area, and of course I wouldn't worry at all about attracting Italians to the Emirates. I think it's extremely attractive, and there's plenty of...
The key should be start with the small numbers for which the control conditions on campus can be ensured already in the package from the beginning. Claudio, what do you think?
Well, first of all, we also have the master degree in English. We have one on computer science. We have one on data science. And I share the view there is, at least also in Milan, no risk for female and women. Regarding the vice versa, from Italy to Emirates, I would say I have one student of mine here, and with me, and I really want him to join as much as possible the Emirates, because I think they are really a good place to be and to have research. There is another student, a former student of us that is currently here. I think it's just a matter of
some in the audience are waving, and they are here now in the UAE working at top-level security places. Yeah.
I think for me, is quite a problem, a cultural problem. I would share the view from Ernesto of starting from some small numbers and have these small numbers as ambassador for the others that would suggest to come to the Emirates. I think Emirates is a real. I was 3 or 4 times at Khalifa University for research, and I think it is a very good place to conduct research. So I think it is just a matter of time and to advertise the quality of the research and life that we can have here. And for the vice versa, we are available to host Emirati students in Italy. We are looking forward to it. Yeah, happy. Thank you.
Now, thank you very much. Dr. Grisenti, who hosted us in the pavilion as the commissioner. Thank you for asking a question to
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask a question. I usually don't. First, I want to just remind ourselves that while we were waiting to come here in this room, we were delighted by an Emirati master degree student playing the piano in the other way. So that's, I think, it's an inspiring beginning of cultural exchanges between us and you. But the question is, we are talking, as I understand today, about collaboration between Europe and the Gulf region. Now, Europe, the European Union is about to decide on a new protocol on artificial intelligence. It's going to be a very important passage in the European Union, the policy-making process. And my question is, how much of your insights, of your intelligence, of your cooperation at the technical level, of your cooperation among universities is impacting in a positive way in the policy-making process, so that when European Union will deliver and decide upon a new protocol for artificial intelligence, this will be compliant with the collaboration you're talking about and with the Gulf region? That's my question.
Okay, thank you very much. But this is a question which is not easy to answer. I don't know if any of the panelists wants to give it a try. I can say something only that here there is a lot, I can say, of continuous, permanent consultation between for the strategic policy in artificial intelligence between the Ministry of Artificial Intelligence in the country here, and there is a special council, among which I'm proud to say sit several former Khalifa students, and we have permanent consultation between the academic part. And they are very well aware of the policy making in Europe as well. So what we are trying is to share basically the documents, and we are trying to share the discussions. So the idea is not that there must be the same policy, but the idea is that one policy can take advantage of the other. And I believe that this is, in the discussion that we had, it was really, really clear, because especially artificial intelligence is nothing without the security in sharing. You must share and you must do those securely. So this is something that at the policy making level here is being taken into account. And I hope that we can have also then bridging opportunities between the research and the development done here in the field of AI, but in let me say intelligent systems in general, because I don't want to be sort of intelligent systems is so close to Khalifa heart as a sort of a general topic, and I think we can, the policy making is being done in a way that the bridges can be built easily, hopefully. So we will look forward to this type of continuous dialogue with the European policy making and effort in AI. I don't know, I think if you, basically you also have been around the world, right? Yes, so yeah. That's very important to be able to match the different strategies in a way.
Sure. Again, a lot of these new principles are just beginning to be put out, as you're pointing out. One of the things that you find in UAE, and especially with, I think my colleagues who are here will agree, is we don't spend a lot of bureaucracy spending time to take time to adopt new things. And the response, I'm from US, and the response of how we've handled COVID, in UAE is a great example, of controlling, and the fact that we are able to have this dialogue today is a huge impact. And we just had a conversation this week with people from around the world. So I think policies will happen, but I think we as scientists have to start making progress towards building some of the things ourselves first, and then contributing to the bureaucratic process of building a country-level policy or such, because this is where it has to start from us, and figure out what's the right thing to do.
Thank you very much. I think this is a good moment, since we are also very late, to wrap it up. I would like to thank everybody really for devoting a bit of your time, and also of the contribution to the discussion that you all brought. Thank you very much for being here with us this afternoon. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to the students and the rest of the audience who traveled from, some of them traveled from Abu Dhabi to be here this afternoon. I'm particularly grateful to them. Thank you very much, everybody. And see you soon for some developments.